6 inches of water capsized an 8,000-ton ferry in 90 seconds. March 6, 1987. The Herald of Free Enterprise left port with its bow doors wide open. 193 dead. But here's what almost nobody understands about how it happened. The Herald was built for speed. Drive on, drive off. No reversing, no delays. G-deck ran the full length of the ship. One enormous unobstructed space. No watertight subdivisions, no sills at the door. Just flat steel, sitting 2 meters above the waterline when loaded. So water poured through the bow doors at 200 tons per minute. Because the Herald was trimmed nose down, the water didn't pool near the door. It ran aft, spreading across the entire width of G-deck in a thin, fast-moving sheet. And that water was free to slosh, which means the free surface effect kicked in. Free water on a wide deck acts like a pendulum with no pivot. When the ship rolls to port, the water rushes to port, shifting the centre of gravity outboard and pulling the ship further over. The math is brutal. Stability loss is proportional to the cube of deck width. A few centimetres of water across that deck exerts the same force as shifting dozens of lorries to one side. And that's exactly what happened. The Herald began to list. 5 degrees. 10. The bridge assumed it was passenger movement. Ferries heel when crowds shift. By 15 degrees, water was waist deep on the low side. At 20 degrees, she went over. Passengers felt the floor tilt, then slide. Furniture broke loose. Lights out. The Herald rolled onto her side 300 metres from shore. But here's the catch. The inquiry found a corporate culture of sloppiness. The court's exact term. No indicator on the bridge showed whether the bow doors were open or closed. Captains relied on visual checks that didn't happen. The company had refused multiple requests to install door indicators, citing cost. Ships were overloaded. Schedules were reckless. And the free surface risk was known but ignored because no regulation required a fix. So the court's conclusion, the company's standards had fallen far short. 7 employees were prosecuted for manslaughter, all acquitted. But the company itself was found guilty of corporate manslaughter, a landmark ruling in British law. The Herald case established that a corporation could be held criminally liable for systemic failures that led to death, which forced ferry design to change. Bow door indicators became mandatory, a simple interlock preventing departure if doors aren't closed. Deck subdivisions were retrofitted, watertight sills added at thresholds. Stability regulations tightened for free surface effects. The Herald's sister ships were modified within months. The changes were not revolutionary, they were obvious, but they required 193 deaths to become non-negotiable. Remember those 6 inches of water from the opening? That's the depth at which free surface effect becomes catastrophic on a deck that wide. Not a flood, not a wave, a film of water thin enough to see the deck beneath moving faster than anyone could react. The Herald didn't sink because the doors were open. It sank because the open doors allowed water onto a deck never designed to contain it. The doors were the error. The deck was the trap. 90 seconds was all it took.